All right. What's going on, everyone? We are live. I am sorry for being late. I totally lost track of time. My son and my wife are playing Star Trek Ascendancy, the board game. And I was just playing around with them for a little bit and got a little carried away in a planetary invasion. So, anyways, just helping out the game. So, I lost track of time. So, my bad. Welcome back. Welcome to the Unconventional Mindset. My name is Odum, and we are going to be building some more Webflow components today for Piixel Pieces, which is our Webflow component and template library. And we're trying to build this into a company that we hope is going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single, I'm going to say every single day, but every single year is a good place to start. And I don't know, I have days where I have really good thoughts where like, oh yeah, we're going to get there, no problem. And then other days where it's like, oh, this might be a little bit of a challenge. And we're never going to get there. So it's almost like the mental game is just such a really weird thing when it comes to building things. But I really try to kind of be stoic and kind of like right in the middle, like, you know what, just work, show up every single day, do the things that you know that are going to help you get to the right place, and then take it one day at a time. What is that saying where it says, people overestimate what they can build in a year, but underestimate what they can build in 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever the case may be. So it takes time, dedication, and we'll get there. So with all that being said, I do have a few more components. So if we look at the call to action section, this was published actually not too long ago, like 20 minutes ago maybe or so. So I just added now there's 5 call to action components. And again, I could do more and like different variations and flavors, but I think 6 is good for now. And we'll, because like, for example, this one right here, it's a 2-column one. I wonder if I should put like a minimum width on this. I mean, if I make this really small here, you can kind of see. So you got your 2-column call to action. You could reverse them and put the buttons on the left and then the text on the right. And make that another component. But again, that's just one quick thing of code to just switch over your, like literally just drag and drop. So I don't know. I just don't want to inflate the numbers too much. I don't know. We'll see. Kevin, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you being here. Hope you're having a good day. It's almost Friday. One more day to Friday. I think I asked you the other day about your the restaurant and said that you're gonna send them like kind of another email to hopefully that you hear back from them. So I remember that. So hopefully they get in touch with you in the next week or so. And a little update on my client or my hopeful new client is that I did send them the email. I think it was on Tuesday morning. Then I heard from them yesterday afternoon, actually, after I came back. And they're like, yeah, message received. And we're going to bring this into like the other researchers in the group. And they're going to discuss and see what they can provide us or whatever for moving forward. And hopefully that he says to get back to me in a couple weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Again, that's kind of a bigger 30 to 60K project. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully we get the green light, and that'll be pretty interesting. And maybe we can do some things if that project actually goes through. Maybe there's some things that we can do to kind of talk about it on the stream in terms of how we're preparing for like the on-site discovery session and what we're going to do with that information that we collect from there. And then, of course, we can talk maybe even how we're going to end up doing the wireframing and all that and just all the planning. So that might be something that's kind of really cool to show like a real live, pretty large scale project would look like. So that might be interesting. I might have to ask the client if that would be okay if I could do that as well too. So that would be kind of cool. And yesterday also, this is kind of like a recap time. Yesterday also got back. I did a presentation with a client. I'm actually working in partnership with a friend here locally in town, and we're helping this company move over all their web properties and all the work that they do from like this server that they kind of manage themselves in-house, sort of. Into Google Workspace, and they had a bunch of emails and stuff like that. So just a bunch of kind of technical work to get them up to speed with file sharing and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, we had that meeting with that company and it went pretty good. So we're getting started with that work, and there could potentially be a lot of stuff in the future with these guys, because it's funny when you get starting to talk to other companies and businesses that are pretty big. I mean, these guys are doing like millions of dollars in revenue every single year. Restaurants, actually. And yeah, some of the stuff that they do is can be modernized a whole lot more to help them work more efficiently. So it's pretty interesting. I think the more you learn and talk to people, the more you can kind of see what their problems and their pain points are, and the more you can kind of think about how you can potentially solve those problems. So yeah, that's why I always think getting out and talking to people and making connections is like the best thing that you can do for like your long-term success. Because at the end of the day, it's all about connections and people trusting you that you can, do work for them. That's gonna help. Anyways, all that being said, let's jump into pricing. So I remember working on these in Figma, and we have this pricing one here with a switcher, and we'll probably actually build the functionality of the switcher as well. We might as well do that. So these are going to be a little bit more, I think a little bit more of a challenge, but that's okay. Not more of a challenge, but just more work than the simple components. And what is this line here? What the heck? What is this thing? It's like a guideline? No idea what that is. Just leave it here so I can, or can I right click it? Oh, remove grid. There we go. Yeah, so I think, I really like this page. It's going to look nice. Let's start with, I don't know, I guess this one, because we have one that's similar to this. So we might just be, where am I going here? I think I'm going here. How's that size? That's probably too small, isn't it? So let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, I wish there was something here in Webflow where you can just have a count of how many static pages you have. I mean, so this says 37, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51 pages. So I only have room for 199 pages, I think, if it's 150. So 99 more components, which is okay. We're not going to get past that at this first stage anyways. Oh, okay, right. Pricing. Components, pricing. Okay. So, right. Let's take a look here at the differences here. And can I switch it? Okay, well, these are already pretty similar. It's like actually the same thing, except the icons are different. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to switch this over to pricing _1. P. At least these are in alphabetical order. That's nice. Pricing, or not underscore, pricing -1. Save changes. I'm ready. Okay. Pin that, please. Let's go into here and just rename this one to pricing -1. Okay. So this title here, we are going to just change the color to neutral dark. I like that better. And I think I want to just change the size just a little bit. There, I like that. Pricing description, that's good. It's just in the neutral color, and it's also going to be the default font size. This pricing, I think we should bold this one as well. Bring it up to 900. The neutral dark. And this USD, I think, also should be at 900. And this one here, we're actually going to make it a little bit lighter at 500. I think this color, let's see if it still passes. It fails. Okay, so we shouldn't use that. We should use a variable. So 500 didn't pass. 600 should pass. That should pass. Let's just verify. Yeah, that passes. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Okay, and this is pricing option. Oh, we also need to get the right text going. There we go. You know, I feel like we can add a little bit more personality. Well, let's see. Because I think if we have these ones as is reverse, and if this one's more popular, then it could stick out a little bit more. Maybe there's something that we can do with that. And let's use our actual accent colors here. And the text itself. We could probably, I feel like that's going to fail. Yeah, that's a definite fail. So we're going to just have to put it to basically just black. Yeah, so my plan this weekend, this is a little of an aside, but I'm going to, once I build out all the components that I want to have for initial, release or whatever, it'll be between 50 and 100 components. I'm going to get that done this weekend. And I'm also going to go for some of these old ones and just update them to the new style, because the new colors and everything like that. And then I'm also going to tighten up the look and feel of everything. And I think I'm going to throw in just a little bit more personality. Like I'm really thinking hard about like rounding the corners of the buttons, and just adding more of my own personal, not personal touch, but I guess it is maybe more of my personal touch, just to differentiate them a little bit from all the other component libraries that are out there. Because I really want for people that when you put these components together, like on your page, that it'll almost look like a site that's ready to go, as opposed to it's just plain black and it's just plain black, plain white, and placeholder for images or whatever, and it almost just looks like a wireframe as opposed to an actual website. So that way when you put things together, you're like, yes, I can kind of see how things are going to feel and how things are going to be put together. And if you're going to use a component and you're going to have to update the styling anyways, if you're changing it because it has a little bit of color and some border radiuses or what have you, that's not much more work, if any at all, than if it's just kind of just plain black and white anyways. I just say black and white in terms of just really, really kind of vanilla component. So there's a fine line, but I'm going to see if I can navigate that one nicely here. Right, so all that being said, let's get back into this table here. So because even this one, I just have like the inclination to just like reverse this completely. So reverse this whole pricing table, like the most popular one, right? And make it, just make it blue. I don't know if that's going to be too much. I didn't actually do it here. Maybe I could do that too, where I'll do like 2 different versions, where there's this one where it's just, you know, your plain Jane one in the sense that all the buckets look the same, and then have a second one that has one of them that's most popular, almost like a different version of the most popular card. Actually, yeah, I like that. That's what we'll do. So I'll just make note of that in my mind, or remind me if I don't do it. But we should. Maybe we'll do that after this one. Okay. So pricing one item. I think for here, we just want to change the color of the background. How light is too light? That's tough. Maybe 300. And I want to have a good border radius. So we have base colors. We have base color brand, base color neutral. And I think I want to do a new variable. What should we call this? I'm not sure quite yet what we should call this. Let's try. No, wait, hang on. What did I just do? Oh, sorry, I'm just hearing something that's going on outside in the board game. I think someone's cheating again. Hey, is someone cheating again? No. He's done. He took over Romulus. Oh, he took over Romulus. Well, why'd you let that happen? I left you in such a good position. You had your 3 fleets. He infiltrated with the You gotta get the changeling. You gotta get rid of them. Sorry. Yeah, my wife lost. We just got the expansion, which has I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, but we love Deep Space Nine. And then they got the expansion for the Dominion expansion. So they have like the changelings. And she's like, they took over Romulus. The changeling infiltrators in there and lost the whole thing. And yeah, and she died. I love Star Trek. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad that my kids enjoy it as well too. Not that I had much of a choice. We watch it all the time when they were small, so now that they're a little older, they love it. So what was I thinking about? I don't know. Anyways, okay, let's move forward here. One thing I want to do, I think, is change these pricing icons or these check marks. Change the code here because we want to keep it to the consistent. What's the word I'm looking for the consistent icons? So I think that's under. Yeah. You were assimilated? Well, I think it's conquered if it's against the Dominion. You're done.
Yeah, you had like 6 ascendancies by the end of it.
How does that happen? You can't even do that. You just grabs them.
It's just
cheating. Huge icon packs. SVG. I think let's go into here. Actually, where's the check marks? This is the one we want. Outline check mark. But interface. Oh, that's what I want there. Interface, outline, check mark, circle. Open. Let's copy that. And think if we just take this path here. Yep, we could throw that in there. Get rid of this. Get rid of this fill here as well. Hit save. There we go. Yeah, that looks much better. Ugh, now I gotta update it for all of these though. There's got to be a better way of doing this. Now, oh, we need one for the X as well. I think there's one here. Yep. Remove circle. Oops. R. Remove circle. QRS. Open here. Copy that. And does that look the same? That might actually be the same. You know what? This actually might be the same icon set. Except, yeah, the check mark is different than this one. I think it is the same icon set. Yeah, it is. I just happen to like that one better. Okay. Maybe the... yeah, it's fine. Actually, which one is better? Which one do you guys like better? This check mark or this one? Maybe it's a little hard to see. Do we have colors for green and red here? I don't think we do, but let's see. Ah, the middle one. The check is centered. Okay, that's fair. I might have to, oops. I might switch it back then. Or I'll make them with two different icons. Yeah, I think it actually looks, now that I'm looking at side by side, you have this one here. I mean, this is totally splitting hairs here. This is not even important, but being a designer, I guess, it's super important. So, yeah, I just like the style of the check mark kind of going outside of the circle. It's kind of how people, you know, if they naturally kind of check things off. But I guess this check mark in the middle and the X here are very consistent. It looks like a clock. I guess so. I guess so. All right. Then we will go back to the old. We will go back to the original. Can I? Well, number one. Oops. Let me zoom out here. And how much can I undo then? I guess I can undo quite a bit. There we go. There we go. It's like the last 5 minutes never happened. Okay. What else do we want to do here? We want this to be just your standard size, which I think it is. Okay, well, here's something that's interesting. So we don't like this, where this icon goes in the middle of the text here if this goes on 2 lines. So what can we do about this? So if we align them here at the top, and we're just going to have to give it a margin. I guess that's going to be different between, like if you're using different text sizes or different not text sizes, but different fonts. But maybe the proportions will stay kind of the same. I guess it really depends on the font. Let me just, oops, not margin. That's not what we want. We want it to go here on this icon. That's even a little bit too much. What is 3 pixels? 3 out of 16. 1.875. Oh, that's not even. Is it? No, I think that one is more aligned. So the question is this going to be centered with other fonts? Let's just take a quick look here. If we remove that with this font, now that's too high. Or like it's brought down too low. But then also if we get rid of this, then it is too high. So it is going to be font dependent. I wonder. If we gave this the same line height, that might not work because of the font. Definitely nitpicking here, but you know, I'm almost thinking that we keep it like this, and then we let individual users decide on how they're going to place their icons, especially if they're going to have longer things. Usually these are for like very short one-line things, but whoops, am I moving my camera? I kicked it there. We'll keep it like this for now. Okay, let's just have a look here. No, I think that's good spacing. Okay. So that's good, but what we need to do actually is we need to add now the monthly and yearly switcher. Or maybe what we'll do, sorry, okay, I'm thinking about so many different things. Let me duplicate this page here for a second. This is pricing 2. Okay, let's go back to 1. Pricing 1 dash 1. Pricing 1. No, don't need to redirect. We're fine. So I'm going to delete that most popular with this pricing 1, because this one's going to be just like your super basic 3-tiered pricing system. No switching, no nothing. So let's go into here. Let's go into components. Where's pricing? Here we go. A basic 3-tiered pricing component. Pricing 1. Okay. And then with pricing 2, actually, let's copy this and let's actually call this pricing 2. Folders. Come on, there we go. Pricing 2. Oh, thirsty. Okay, rename this guy. Oh, that didn't work. Rename. Delete you. You go in there. Just the buttons renamed. Makes sense. Just button. Control Enter, backspace, button. Control Enter, backspace, button. Okay. Okay, yeah, I know. So we're going to throw this. Actually, we're going to Control Alt G, wrap this up in a block. We're going to call this pricing 2, which is the same thing. It's going to go into a grid, but that's just because we're going to rename this one here pricing 2 underscore like just table, because that's the pricing table. And this one's going to have the grid that pricing 2 has, which is 2 and 111. Okay, I can remember that. Grid 2 REM, and it's a 3-column. It's done, and then this one we are going to just reset the display. And we did that because we're going to have a new thing here, and this is going to be pricing switcher. And we're going to say, so now I'm thinking about pricing switcher like 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what you guys think makes the most sense here, because this one's a little bit unique, I think, in that, let's look into our Figma here. So we have different styles for different potential pricing switchers, 1 through 5. Should a pricing switcher be its own individual component? So that way people can cut and paste that into their own pricing table. But the problem with that, you think you go with a switcheroo? I'm not sure what you mean in terms of a switcheroo, in terms of you can switch them from the different components. Because the problem I'm seeing is that if you have them separate, the person is going to have to individually, what am I thinking? it's not going to be functional, right? The buttons, because you have to pair when they click on this thing, this happens with an interaction, right? So, or can you do that? No, I don't think you can. Switcheroo with just a name? Oh, like the name of the of the like the pricing switcher thing called the switcheroo. Yeah. That's not so bad. Yeah, but yeah. So if they're separate components, then we can't integrate them automatically, and that's going to fall on to the actual individual. So is there a way that we can make this better to give you complete flexibility? Because I don't want to make like 12 different pricing tables, or like, or even more, like 20 or 30, because it has a switcher paired up with the pricing table. Like you might like this switcher and you want this pricing table, pair them together. So if I have to make all of them, then we're going to end up with like 30, 40 different pricing tables, which I don't think is really ideal. This is too much. I don't know. There's such a thing as too much choice, I think. Especially when the idea is not to have something that's 100% like designed exactly how you want it out the box. Choices, decisions, how to do this. I think we're just going to, at first, use our superior design skills to come up with things that fit well together, and then put those together. And then maybe we have, like 10 pricing tables, which are ones that are switched that could work like well together or not well together. So because I want to reuse the same code. It's like pricing switcher 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm also trying to think, how did I do my original pricing switcher, or mine on Piixel? Did I use like a radio selection, or is it just all like div tags? Yeah, they're not selections at all. I don't know if it makes more sense to make them as selections or not. Then everything needs to be inside of like a form. And that ups the complexity quite a bit, actually. What to do for those? I think. So when you're working with something like MemberStack, your sign up is in a form, but your pricing isn't necessarily in a form. Let me see what they have in MemberStack for forms, or pricing, I should say. Maybe I can log in here. Oh, shit. Not smart. Components is what I want to look at here. Okay. Pricing page. So, a bunch of pricing pages here. And I guess, well, let me just, so copy component. So we're going to paste this here. Okay. Yeah, so these are not, this is not in a form at all whatsoever. This is just a button. And, oh, interesting. It's in tabs. How does that play off differently? Yeah, it's funny. Look at this cut and paste. And how the layouts and everything are off. So, yeah, you're always going to have that issue. Yeah, look at the check marks. Yeah, all the layouts are off. And these are the things that I know I want to avoid when people are cut and pasting my components, to have everything just offset just in a horrible way and just not look how it should. And the question is, like, why is that? Like, if I look at this, everything is aligned in the middle, but what the hell's going on? Oh, this paragraph has some bottom spacing from all paragraphs. Because if this was 0, then it would be centered. Actually, that's the only thing that screwed over everything. All paragraphs wasn't set to 0. That's interesting. That is interesting. Which is probably why that style guide is so important, to get everything kind of on this even playing field. Right. So let's go back. Let's have a look at this one. So he says loading component. I wonder where it's loading the component from, because that's what we're going to need to have to do. So let's copy this component here. Nope. Let's delete that and paste this one. Interesting. Everything's in the tab, so you click on the tab and it activates the tab, which is kind of interesting. That's an interesting way of doing it. Very interesting way of doing it. I wonder why, because the tab has... What would be the benefits of putting something in a tag? Or tabs, I should say, as opposed to... Oh, because then whatever tag is active is going to have whatever the... Like this is the button, yeah, because that's the button and then the trigger. So then that button's the one that's the active one. Interesting. But if that's the case, let's go back to this one. Monthly. Oh, I see. And then this, no, that's not the switcher. Tabs are monthly or yearly. These are hidden. Sorry, I'm just curious now what's going on here. Moves it to 100%. So I guess if you click on it, it just moves to the left or the right. Oh, but this isn't, it's actually not even working. Or the tab from going to monthly or yearly. But that's what this tab links is supposed to be. Why is it hidden? Switches to monthly and yearly. That's what these tabs are supposed to do here. That's an interesting way of doing it. Using tabs. Because the way that I was thinking about doing it is instead of having, you don't need to have tabs because you don't need to duplicate all the content. You just have the two different pricing and you just show and hide one depending on whether it's hidden or not, like depending on what tab you selected. And then you also have show or hide the different buttons because each button is going to have like a different URL. When you click on pricing, like yearly versus monthly or whatever. That's how I've done it. I guess you can do it both of them. So you could duplicate content using components and see the price as variables. I think the problem with that, I'm just trying to think now how that would work. Duplicate the content using components. So components, like you're talking Webflow components. Now, I think you can cut and paste Webflow components. So that's not a problem, but you can't cut and paste variables. I think that would be the problem there. But I'm trying to think of how that would go. Duplicate the content using components. And then you insert, so you'd make a component for yearly, and then make a component for monthly. And then for each component, whether it's monthly or yearly, it would have a different variable, which would be things for like the price and anything else that would change. But with variables, you can't have just like random like strings. Like you can only have for like the variables. If I'm thinking you're meaning like these kinds of variables, right? Because it's only colors and fonts and stuff. You can't have like the variable of what the URL is going to be. So like add your pricing 1, pricing 2. I think that would have to be like a database thing where you'd have to put in the collection. Right. Variable's wrong word. Yeah. So the field to override. Can you override? I think you can override links as well too, right? I see that. Yeah. Does that get too confusing? Now I'm thinking, okay, there's so much more to this than I thought. These are really good questions. Yeah, the override. Yeah, I don't know what the word is for that as well too. Just the, oh man. I think I could even see here, edit the component, the instance. Yeah, for the instance. Is it even the instance? I don't even think the instance is the right word, but I know exactly what you're saying. that might not be so bad. So what would you think if you're making a pricing table and you just have the 3 tiers, 2 tiers, whatever, it doesn't matter how many tiers, but what matters is how many switches. So you had a monthly and then a yearly pricing. So if you were going to design this or develop it in Webflow, would you rather there be 2 tabs? So you just go into the tabs and just update your pricing for, it'll say like yearly and monthly, for tab 1, and tab 2, yearly, monthly, tab 3, your bronze, silver, gold. And you just update those details individually. But then you also have like 2 different text potentially if there's different features you get for that. But generally they pretty much stay the same when you do a switcher. It's usually just the number that changes. Or would it be better to have those components and then you duplicate them as components? I feel like that would be more complicated, because then you'll have 2 components and whether they're seen or not seen would depend on, you'd have to use an interaction to do that. And then within those components themselves, you'd have to make an instance or an editable instance for each single thing. And then because you could change it, whether it's for year or month. I think that's way too complicated. I think that would be way too complicated. Ooh. Oh, this is ugly. Okay. What would I do if I were me? So, actually, hang on. So if we were to do this, let's just see if we can kind of come up with something that makes a little bit of sense here. We have this pricing table. Let's make it into a component. So price 1, whatever. So we make that into a component, and we want to make specific things like this price. We need to make this as an editable thing, right? So I think we hit this plus button. Yeah, create and connect a new property. So we'll just call this, say like bronze price, multi-line, no, just 1 line, and create. And then we'll do the same thing for here. We'll go silver price, create, and then we'll go gold price. And we're going to need to the link needs to be editable. So we'll go here. Yeah, we'll go bronze link, create. We'll go silver link, create. This might not be so bad, but hang on. Silver, oh, no, that's gold. Gold link, create. Okay. So here's my instance of my price 1. And can I duplicate this? Duplicate it again. Let's just say this. Reset. Can I rename this? It doesn't look like I can rename it. Oh. So that's kind of annoying if I can't rename it. So then the question is, how do we show and hide this? Like these different prices. So this one here will be, this is yearly, right? So we just add a 9. Oh geez, I don't know what the difference would be. 299, 599. I don't know. Whatever, doesn't matter. And then the links are the links. Whatever, that's easy to know. So this one is the monthly. This one's the yearly. So obviously we can then have a switcher that just shows or hides each one of these. But the problem is right now is that like, what is the problem? There's lots of problems. The problem is I don't think we can target these ones because they have the exact same class name. So we'd have to wrap them in something. And one of the things that we could wrap it in is we could wrap it in a tab and we could do tabs. But this does kind of make it easy to update your information within the component. It actually makes me wonder. No, I shouldn't go that far. I was thinking of if each one of these cards should be in its own instance. I think that's too much. It's going too granular. I don't think most people are going to want that. So we might need to use tabs anyways. So I know for me, let's just go here real quick. Let's just look at what we did with Piixel. If we go here, let's scroll down to our pricing. All right, here's my pricing table, like an actual live pricing table. And let's zoom in a little bit. Where did this thing go? Let's pin this. So what I actually did is, if you look here, there's 2 pricing plans and this one's hidden. So it's basically the pricing, like this whole thing gets hidden. I just made 2 copies of this one. So we can look here. Let's just display it. Maybe it's displayed like this. Yeah, so those are the 2 different plans. And then I just literally have also 2 different buttons. One's button yearly and button the other one. Actually, they're positioned absolute, so they're going to go over top of each other. But there's 2 different buttons. And I just show and hide that based on this switcher right here. And then this is the interaction where it's show monthly and hide yearly, and show yearly, hide monthly. And it's just a show and hide, and then changing the background colors and whatever, just having a little animation between the pill button here. So that's how I built that. Pretty simple. But the thing is, from a user perspective, if you're just cutting and pasting this, like if this was a component, you have to know where to input the different pricing and for yearly and for monthly. So it's not as intuitive as we would like it to be. So let me undo all that jazz. Okay. Did everything undo? Okay. I think so. Plan pricing button. Yeah, everything's good. So yeah, that's obviously that's fine for me and fine for just building this. It's pretty straightforward. but is that going to be the best way for everybody? So what can we do? Something like this might be easier because people can see, like in this properties, like I love this, how everything is just right here where you don't have to click into each individual thing. So if we did something kind of cool where we just rename this something like update your pricing here. So it's pretty clear what that means when you're looking in your code. So you just click on it and then boom, that just kind of shows up. And what we could even do, oh no, we can't. Oh yeah, we can. We can do something pretty cool where, what am I thinking of? Oh, like right here. So I think we can edit this property settings. So we can say this is bronze price, and then we can go monthly. And then for the other ones, oh no, we can't. Oh no, we can't do that because then it's always going to show us monthly. Right. I'm sorry. I was just thinking if you can label them. This is the monthly, this is the yearly, but we can't because it's always going to be the same. Because if we go here now, that's monthly, this is yearly. So what we need to do is we need to, this is going to have to be basically like this, pricing underscore or pricing one underscore monthly. And then this one, pricing one underscore yearly. This is actually not so bad. What do you think, Kevin? Would this be a good way to go? And then of course, we just have this, and then we just have a show hide switcher. And this could also be a tab, like putting in tabs. So I guess we can even just, if we put in a tab here, you know, whatever, monthly, whoops, cancel that, yearly, delete this one, and then we could just go in here, just edit it, so at least you can kind of see what's going on. And then we have our content for monthly. Then that would go in here. And then this would go in here. And then by default, not everything's shown. So you go to monthly and yearly. And then you already have like a built-in switcher. Which you could animate or whatever, right? Which one's going to be the best way to go? The tabs. Oh. And within the tabs menu, I can definitely, I'm actually kind of feeling the tabs, to be 100% honest. I mean, if these guys, do they do all the pricing table in tabs? That would be an interesting question. How many do they have here? I have a feeling they might, but let's just see. because they might have, I mean, Webflow, MemberStack is, I figure they're getting to be a big enough company. I mean, still in the early stages, but if it works for them, they probably went through the, I'm hoping they did some of the due diligence on whether it makes sense to put things in tables or tabs or not. But then here's one here that this one doesn't have tabs at all. But just looking at this right off the bat, right here, is there's no switcher in this one. So there's no switcher in that one whatsoever. So let's see if we can go see if they have another component with switching. So I feel like this would be something that would switch because it's going select monthly or yearly, and it might change that button. Let's see. That's my guess for kind of how they built these. But let's see. Design here, please. And paste. And this is a tab. And then the button is in tab 1 versus tab 2. And this is the menu here. 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to look at just one final one if I can. That would be kind of this one. Oh, did I stay? I didn't stay. Oh, component copied. I did get it. Delete that. Paste. No, wrong one. Okay, this isn't doing anything. However, let's just take a look at how it's built. This is a switch, so this is not using tabs. Oh, no, it is. I think they're using tabs, but then they're hiding the tab menu to get their own default switcher. They switch in and switch out. Just changing the background color, and then it's changing the position of the switcher. But then that interaction also needs to change the pricing, which I think what they're doing, which I could be wrong. What is this card link here? This has an interaction on it. Mouse hover, nothing. Okay, that's weird. Card wrap 1, card wrap 2. If I look at the tabs, yeah, so tab 1, they have different pricing here. I think what their plan or their idea is for this one is that you create your own interaction maybe to switch between the two prices, that you do something to switch the tabs when you click on one of these. I'm not sure, or unless there's some kind of code that this only works when you publish something. I don't know. Close this one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, let's view it. So it works when you just view it. So I'm not sure why it's not working. For me here. Let's just try just for fun. Let's just publish it and see if it works. Because maybe there's something that we're missing here. No, it just doesn't work. So maybe it's something wrong with that component, possibly. Let's just see if we can take a look at it in the live site. Oh, not the live site. I don't want to see that. I want to see the actual in Webflow. Okay, delete me. Oh, that's other stuff. Okay. So what's going on here? There's missing. I feel like we're missing some kind of some interaction here. Okay. The tab menus are always going to be hidden. Yeah, the switch is not working here either. Oops, what did I do? Sorry, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how this is being built. Is there potentially some JavaScript? Yes, there is. Okay, so there we go. It's JavaScript enabled. This changes the tab when the switch is clicked. It's not ideal, I guess. And then also when you copy the component, it doesn't copy this JavaScript. So you need to actually, well, let's just see. If I go back here, I'm pretty sure on this page, there's no JavaScript here. No. So you have to put it in as an embed, which is fine, which I'd probably rather do that. It's not like using JavaScript is necessarily a bad thing, because your site nowadays, because before you'd almost want to make sure that your site could still work on if you have JavaScript disabled. But now I think most sites won't work if JavaScript's not enabled. All right, so now the question becomes is, do we want to use tabs in here? But I really like the idea, because then when you're in your tabs, you can create the components that allow you to edit your pricing easily. So actually that's pretty cool. And then you could also see them instead of having to unhide and hide things. So yeah, I like that. So we're going to use that. So executive decision has been made. We're using tabs. So let's maybe at least just try to do one here. That's monthly versus yearly. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So the other thing that we want to do, let's go to the instance here. And we also want to make this thing editable. We just call this pricing frequency. Yep. Super simple. Shit. So I guess we need to do... this actually kind of sucks. We can't call it the same thing. Because if you go back here, pricing frequency, yeah, it's per month, but we want to be able to say per year, which is fine. But I'd love it to update all three of them at the same time. The only other way that we can do this is have, instead of having the component be all three of them, we can have a single instance in one. So it's just you can add as many as you want, basically. Which might be interesting. And then you can make everything editable. Like you make the text editable, you make the title, you make the text, you make the like the check marks. I feel like that's almost going way too far. But you'd have to, because if you make them all components, then they all have to have, they would all even have to have the same amount of items, right? Like, oh, I guess we can do this. Create a connected property. Maybe we can call this one, feature one. This might be too much to make a pricing table. But let's just see. Feature one, create. Visibility, feature two, create. And then it's like, do you want this to be a check or an X? It's like, oh my goodness. And this is the text, right? So feature one, text. Feature two, text. Create. So now when we go here, we have all these. Do you want to show feature one? Yes, no, actually we can't see it. We're on the tabs. We want to go to, tabs. We want to go to yearly tab. So we have the yearly tab. We want to hide that one. We want to hide feature two. Or we want to show feature two, but we want to call it new feature. Wow, this is crazy. Do we want to go like that detailed? That's crazy. That's more like a template. We could create like the ultimate, like advanced pricing table, something like that, where yeah, if it's an advanced pricing table, then we could have every component basically editable. We can call just say advanced pricing component. And this is where you basically have each individual pricing point as its own component. So then people would get that really fine, granular ability to rename everything. You know what could be a completely different way of doing it? Which actually might be a better way. Hang on a second. So maybe we don't have to necessarily keep everything in a component. Oh, it's not going to have anything. What is this thing in? It's in a pricing 2 table. Alt G. Right. Right. So, okay, what am I saying here? And then we take this, and then we can make this into a component, right? So, and say price here. So this is just price. And of course, the whole thing is editable. And this is just your price. So you have your pricing table, and then you have your price here, which you can edit. And then you have like maybe your button. And that goes into a component. So that way, when you open up this pricing table, and then you open up, I mean, you have to open up and find what you want, but then you can come here and update your price and your button. That way, when you're in your monthly tab versus your yearly tab, then you could individually choose what labels are inside here and what's in here without having to worry about hooking it up to an editable instance. So you could have more flexibility if your monthly and yearly has completely different, features or what have you. Is that something that's going to happen? I don't know. I could easily make both kinds and kind of see what works and see what people find better to use. But these are interesting questions. These are really interesting questions. Because I don't want to put if I put everything in a component like this, let's just go back to our our correct tab here. Yeah, it's a monthly tab. If this whole thing is in this instance, I mean, we can add new options by just copying and pasting, but that's going to add the options for both the monthly and the yearly package, right? But I guess the whole idea though is if you pay monthly versus yearly, it should stay the same. It should stay the same because it's just, hey, you could pay for this monthly or you could pay for this yearly. So maybe we should operate on that premise that whether you're monthly or yearly, everything's going to stay the same. If that being the case, then it makes sense to keep everything in this one nice, neat component where you can update everything right here. But then we still have stupid things here with this whole yearly thing. We have to update it on each and every one of them, which is annoying that we can't make a global, just like a global style, which is kind of too bad. Oh, maybe I can. Can I connect it to, it says connect to a property. Connect to pricing frequency. Oh, I can do that. Oh, that is awesome. That's what we want. So I couldn't name it. I was trying to name it the same thing. It was like, oh, that name already exists. But now we can connect it. Oh, that is beautiful. So that's what we want. That's perfect. And then we could also do that to connect the currency as well, which is really cool. So let's go here and let's just say, let's just say currency. And then we create, and then this one here, we'll just attribute it to currency. And this one here, also to currency. Oh, that's perfect. So then, so we're here in this component and we want to change the currency. Now we're Canadian, boom. And we're like daily, there it is. And these features, if you want to show or hide. I don't know about making these show or hide, because I think what people can do is they can go in to the actual component itself and edit the edit the features. Like for example, if I wanted to, oh, that's too many, right? Delete this one, delete this one, and this one I'll actually just disconnect that. And I think there's this one here. I'll disconnect that one as well. And then go back. Oh, this is still here. I need to disconnect that one as well. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, there it is. I was hidden. And disconnect. Okay. So now it kind of shows up in green which properties are actually editable or not, which is kind of nice. So it's very simple. Bronze pricing, silver pricing, gold pricing type. It's just too bad you couldn't actually rename this thing. It says edit component. It's the whole thing. Which is too bad. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let me just make sure I have this thing clear in my mind. When there's a pricing component that is going to have multiple variations, monthly, yearly, biannually, lifetime, whatever the case may be, we're going to put it in a tab. Because number one, we could either use the tab functionality that's already built in to switch from monthly to yearly. But more importantly, we want to keep it in a tab because that way, when we're in here, let's delete this one because that's a lot. But that way, when we have these different tabs, people are going to be able to update their information depending on where they are very, very easily without having to worry about what's hidden, what's not hidden. If we do the way that I built mine right here, which is showing and hiding buttons based on where the state is of this pricing switch, right? By using interactions. So that's fine if you know how this was built. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I know that I need to go in this button and it has to have this like stripe link, as opposed to this button has to have a different stripe link because it's for, this variant. But if you're here in the tabs, you can easily see this says monthly, this one's yearly, and then that's it, right? You'll know which content is for which pricing table. So that's what we'll do. That makes perfect sense. Okay, I like it. So let me know what you think, if that makes sense or not. It makes a whole lot of sense to me, and I like that. So let me write some of this down. So just basically use tabs for switching. Oops. Okay. Excellent. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. So didn't get as far as I wanted to today, at least in terms of the pricing, because it's all these new things in terms of figuring out exactly how to develop the pricing, because it's actually a little bit more complex than just some kind of simple, just uninteractive component, right? Where it's just, here's a hero section, or here's just, a testimonial. So, it actually gets me thinking about what other things that can we use that have components that'll make it easier for people to edit. So it's actually something that's pretty powerful in Webflow that we might want to take advantage of when we're building our components, our Piixel Pieces components, and if we want to have Webflow components within them to help with the editing. With people that might not be as proficient. But we need to be careful because we want to make sure that a lot of the stuff isn't going to interfere with the editor as well, because we want to make sure things are editable nice and easy for people to use the editor, as opposed to using the navigator or the internal design tool to actually edit the content of the website. So there's lots of little things to consider about what's going to be the best user experience depending on the type of user that's going to be using Piixel Pieces. So it's really interesting. There's Piixel Pieces, or building this component library for people that are designers and developers that are building websites for clients. And there's also the use case for the people that are basically almost new to Webflow and new to building websites, but they want to build a website or they want to have their pricing table or whatever for these are people that don't have a lot of building experience, right? But either way, I guess the point is that people that are going to be using Piixel Pieces are going to be going into the designer anyways, and that's probably how they're going to edit the site. So maybe it's not really important to think about the users that might be building something for somebody else to use the editor. Well, I guess no, that's wrong, because people that are clients are going to want to use the editor. But that being said, I think you can make sure that I think all instances should still be editable when you're editing. I'll have to test that. Gotta write that down. In the edit. Yeah, so can you edit components when you're just an editor using the default edit panel? And I thought there was something specifically that you can do to text. Can I find just default text? Whether it's actually editable or not in the editor. I thought there was something. Go to the home page here for a second. Right, so here's this editing permissions. Allow users to edit this element in edit mode and in the editor. So So that's interesting. So now when we're in a pricing page and we talk about editing permissions, it looks to me like you can't, like this is database driven, so that's not going to be editable. But if we go in here, allow users to edit this. So that's a yes. And yes, they can still edit this. Okay, so it looks like that answers my question. That yes, people are still going to be able to edit Webflow components when they're using the visual editor, which is good. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here today. And I'm probably this evening, I'm going to see if I can whip up the first pricing table. And then we'll probably kick this off on Friday, just finishing off the rest of the pricing components. Because I think next to the navigation elements, I think the pricing are going to be the more complicated things. So if we can get those out of the way by Friday, then the weekend we can work on all the other little kind of more fun static types of things that we want to do, like components like testimonials or team pages, just maybe some simple UI things, just things like that are a little bit more just kind of design oriented as opposed to development stuff. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. To every single one of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And as always, I will be back here with another live stream tomorrow. So until then, have a great one.